Good morning, everybody. I'm in a different place now. I'm in the front yard. Let me adjust this some. Here we go. Oh, it wants to go back down. Okay. There we go. Okay. I almost didn't want to film this morning. I don't know why. I just want to break routine this morning and start building my art website and get that going and stuff. I'm like eager to get everything done all in one day, but I've been learning to pace myself, to learn gradually the things that I don't know. Hold on, I see stuff on this. On the lens. So I've been learning to not get overwhelmed with new things and to just pace myself and learn. I remember back in 2020, I was getting into portraiture, and if you want to see the portraits I painted, you can look at my video, How to Find Your Purpose. And I remember I started getting into portraiture, so I had something to focus on. And I was very depressed at the time, and I needed something to focus on. I needed something to focus on other than my ex, to be quite honest, because to think about my ex gave me great pain and nightmares. So I needed something to focus on, and so I started focusing on my gift, which has always been art. Everybody knows me as an artist my whole life. I've always been known as the artist, and it's true, because I've always had that. I've always had that in times that I didn't want to be in the places that I was in. Like, for instance, school. I didn't want to be in school, but I had my pencil and paper and I can doodle, you know. I could express myself through that way. And so that's what these creative gifts are for. They're outlets to help you express who you truly are, what your spirit, what your heart wants to say. And so rather than obsessing over someone out there, obsess over your passions. And if you don't know what that is, look at what you're naturally talented at, what you naturally go for, what even that you dream of being, but you maybe doubt that you could be or become that. Because if you dream about a certain thing that you think, oh my God, that would be amazing if I could do that. Like, say you're not an artist, but you're like, oh my God, I wish I could be an artist. Like, oh, if that compels you enough to go for it, then you might be an artist, and there is just, opportunity waiting for you to use it and as an expression. Being something doesn't mean you have to be perfect at it. Doesn't mean you have to be the master at it. It just means that is the way your spirit wants to express. And I think when people think about gifts or talents, they think that they have to be number one, the very best. But that is ego speaking. That is ego speaking, and that is not what it's about. Your talents and your gifts are not about being number one, and it's not about who's winning or who's the best. It's about you expressing yourself. And in fact, when you come from a place of I have to be very best at something, it puts up a block. It puts up a block. And that's what when you get writer's block or artist block, is because you're trying too hard to be original or the very best. And so there's this block because the fun is now wiped out completely. And so example of this, when I was in my most depressed place, I had lost myself, 2020, I was obsessing over being the very best that I can be as a portrait artist, trying to get as close to realism that I can. And once I reached that, I no longer found interest in it anymore. I had achieved what I wanted to achieve, that is making portraits realistic looking, you know? And once I achieved that, I felt like there was this shift in me. I no longer wanted to be rigid or a perfectionist. I now long to be expressive and abstract. And so in 2021, that's what I did. I spent the year getting acrylic inks and flowing and letting myself loosen up. And I got a sketchbook and I drew out my visions I was receiving, and it was all this free expression, and I was no longer tight anymore. And I longed to make big paintings with this free expression, but then when I went back to painting, I was still tight. I was still in this perfectionism of getting things realistic. And so I was kind of trying to get expressive lines, and the way that I was putting my visions onto the canvas was how I was expressing. I couldn't go freely abstract in oil painting, you know. I had to, you know, kind of put that free expressions in the way I expressed myself through line or color or objective or subject. But let me take a sip of tea. It is a journey. It is a journey. And everybody has their own gifts, everybody has their own talents, and it's really about your heart, your spirit wanting to express in many forms. I also express in many forms. I've always been somebody that has sang, like, I'm always singing like a bird. That was my nickname growing up, Bird. But not because I sang all the time, but I'm always singing. And I'm always singing when I'm feeling my best too. And when I'm not feeling my best, that's when the music goes out in my head and I'm not singing, so, you know, that's a sign that I'm not feeling my best, is when I'm not singing or there's no songs playing in my head. But when I'm feeling my best, I'm singing. And I'm also dancing. I love to dance. And I found that out in 2017 when I left somebody that I was with. And I started to express myself. I started to sketch in my art journal, my art sketchbook, and I started to sing and I started to dance after I left this 4-year relationship. And I started to dance. I had never really danced. And so I found this sensual side of myself in 2017. I started to dance sensually and sexy and expressive, and I really awakened my root, my Kundalini fire that year, and it was all on my own, you know. It wasn't for somebody outside of me. It was all me expressing my own true self within. And so we kind of put that pressure on people outside of ourselves when we haven't really went within, when we're not pursuing our passions and giving our energy to our passions and what's bringing us joy in the day and what's lighting us up. we can tend to put all that pressure on somebody else outside of us. We can hold expectations of somebody else to be the way we want them when we ourselves are not standing up or being authentic. But when you truly are going for what you love, doing what you love every day, you no longer seek outside of yourself. You no longer hold expectations for anybody else. But you now have values, that you stand by, and you have more self-love, and you become your own best friend. And life is joyous, and you're never bored. There's always something that's flowing through you that in a way that you want to express, either through word, singing, dancing, I don't know, whatever it is for you, how you express. And so that's true freedom, when you allow yourself to express through creativity, through your word. One way to open your throat chakra is to start journaling out your thoughts every single day. That's how you can get out of your head. Okay, that's how you can get off the merry-go-round, is write out your thoughts every day. Write at least 2 pages every single day. Make yourself do it. If you want to get out of your head, if you want to stop these toxic cycles in your life, you need to really know yourself. Hold on. You need to really know yourself. Okay? Once you get these thoughts out and then read them back to yourself, things become more clear. And you have this open dialogue with yourself.